You say that companies, break the relationships that built them as they scale. Why does that happen so consistently? Is this a leadership issue, systems issue, or a mindset issue, would you say?
I think it is a blinders on issue. When you are a leader and you want to scale, because no one it's if you can't go on the internet and not hear the next thing about like, do you want to grow your business? Do you want to 10x this? Do you want to like it's pervasive. And so companies want to grow, they want to scale. Great, that's fantastic. When you scale, you immediately start thinking as a leader, what do I need to do infrastructurally to make this scalability sustainable and possible? And so what you wind up doing is you look at your own homework, you look at your own experience. So, what does this need to look like for this company to work for me, for this growth to impact me? And so, what happens is brands scale and they absolutely scale their infrastructure, their hiring practices, their standard operating procedures, everything they need on their end, but they never consider what scale needs to look like for the customer. And so usually if they do ever think about the customer, they think, "Oh, we should get a tech tool for that. We should bring something in here." Not realizing that that tool does not magically replace intent. And so if the whole idea is like, "Oh, we need to scale our customer experience too, let's just onboard this tool," you're going to be disappointed, and it's not going to be the tool's fault. It's because you did not come with the intent of what does scalability for customer experience need to look like. It's just like, well, we had this tool. We onboarded this. Why is it not magically working? I was like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it's not going to fix it. You've introduced the idea of customer trust infrastructure. What's broken about most companies' approach to CX today, would you say?
It's twofold. I think there is a disconnection between the academic research that's been done around trust and what practitioners need. So what you have is you have a lot of teams that are basically hitting walls, having to feel like they need to reinvent the wheel and fix things that they don't even have names for, when there are names for that. It's in the literature. And so one part of the customer trust infrastructure is to build a bridge between the academic research and the practitioner work, because a lot of what we're seeing, like I see this on LinkedIn and like social media all the time, where someone will acknowledge this cultural moment that's happening and they're like, this is happening and this is new. And I'm like, technically this was described 100 years ago by a sociologist. And here's what that actually looks like. And so we don't need to reinvent the wheel. And I think that it would actually help us solve things quicker if we knew what the trust research already said. We knew what sociologists who've been studying humans forever, what they have been saying and what they have been observing. And then the second thing would be, I think that there is a disconnect between, especially now with economic uncertainty and layoffs and things of that nature, is in corporate, there is a massive zero sum game. And what that's doing is as you scale, you're creating silos because those silos actually create the infrastructure for you to grow. The problem is that they also separate your teams, so now they're not necessarily sharing intel and data and findings and all these things. And so that's a huge trade-off in the internal infrastructure that you're creating that winds up creating a worse customer experience. And so we need to get those teams to play together, but they're not going to want to play together if they're too busy worried about losing their job. And so it's like, I can't help you with your OKRs because my OKRs are going to keep me safe. And so it's a mixture of like all of these. It's kind of a perfect storm of we've created all these cultural environments that incentivize individual work, but you need everyone to come together as a team sport in order to actually fix everything. Like, there's no one person that can fix everything. Yeah, one department. But we keep putting that on the shoulders of support. And it's like, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, they're fixing problems they didn't cause. They're apologizing for things they didn't say. Like they are a band-aid that's having to triage things that you could fix, but it's going to take the whole team coming together to fix it.